Okay, guys, let's finish the video out, and then from Thursday till like Sunday or Monday, I'm gonna be busy with family, and I'm not gonna be able to upload. Okay, let's do this. So I may have lost my voice a little.
Age, puberty. He's
Oh,
impressionable. Kratos knows this, and he's not there to guide
Taught me discipline. I need more than that. I need
Why?
answers. Answers you don't have.
him, and his memories of proof needs him.
For the truth,
okay.
but only when tempered by this. By the discipline, the self-control of the one who wields it.
This is okay.
That is where the true strength of a warrior lies.
His son needs him. Just as he embraced being a father, that role was taken from him, all the while being continuously haunted by visions of his wife, who shames him for failing their son, and his memories of proving himself to the senior Spartan general I mentioned before. Think of how beautifully that would increase the tension and the stakes as the game goes on. The Atreus segments in between will create a
I
feeling of
mean, the stakes in the original game are still pretty high. I don't know how this is supposed to be better. I don't know how this... I mean, literally, it was... Everybody... life was on the line in the original game. You know? I don't know how the stakes can get any higher.
impending doom for the player. The boss fights become hard to play because you know these gods now better than Kratos. You have no hate for them. And as Atreus befriends the gods,
Well,
you
that's
as
not
Kratos
necessarily
kill-
true. You hear all the story from Mimir in the first game. Although I wonder how much he actually paid attention. Feels like he didn't pay attention very much.
one after another. Epic boss fights, by the way. I'm talking... You kill your son's friends and your family. Kratos cannot listen to those that took Atreus from
That... I don't... I mean... maybe with this version of Kratos, he would do that. Okay, I'll give you that.
from him and aren't willing to give him back right away. Some say they don't know where he is, some don't care much for Atreus, some don't want to say it because Kratos has already killed so many gods, some want to protect Atreus from him, some just don't like Kratos or are looking to prove themselves to Odin, expose Thor for not having finished the job.
You do not get to decide my fate!
But Kratos does not negotiate. As the player, you can sense that in the end, there must be a face-off between Kratos and Atreus. Kratos doesn't realize that he's hurting his son by chasing him down so desperately. Oh, the poetry. If you've been listening closely...
That kind of already happens in the original game. You know, he's hurting Atreus by killing all the gods. It kind of already happens in the original game, and that's kind of basic.
Closely, you might wonder, how does the passing of time factor into all of this? Exactly. Me having to explain this to you now ruins the wow factor a little bit, but I want you to get this because it's very important. I mean, basically
why was Atreus taken? I mean, Odin must have a goal, right? And if it'd been months or years or however long it takes for him to get a gray beard, so been cutting the beard, I guess, his goals must have been already achieved.
Teaching this game to you right now. Give me 200 million and Kojima's number. I will make this happen. I swear to Tiananmen Square.
Why Hideo Kojima? Hideo Kojima.
Player, you just think some time has passed. Over the course of your journey, seeing how the world changed, maybe you keep adjusting how much. Sometimes you think a lot, but most of the time you don't think much about it at all. Is Kratos really older or just looks more fucked up because he got beaten half to death by Thor?
I mean, he has a gray beard now. That doesn't happen just because you were beat up. It happens after a long period of time. Must have been really long because gods don't really age that much. So unless a cutted beard, and it takes relatively long for a beard to get that long, Someone must have cut it. It must have regrown in.
Maybe you second guess it sometimes, but it also
And
doesn't
he
seem
lost muscle mass.
that important to you. Freya also isn't able to provide this answer because, I don't know, insert explanation here, okay? Maybe in the far away.
Well, why wouldn't she know? You know, is she not keeping track of time? What? I mean, she's pretty good at keeping track of time before, and they mention, oh, this happened 120 winters ago.
Away realm that
this happened then ago.
She wondered time passes differently, or she was in a benzo-induced coma, so she lost track of time too. Don't get
just, it doesn't matter, Write your fill in the blank on your own.
hung up on the details, bro, okay? We fixed it in post. The Atreus segment.
Well, isn't this post-production? I mean, is it?
Segment start right after he was taken by
Experience medieval times, a world of excitement, adventure, and wonder.
Thor, and show his life develop over the course of, let's say, a year. But you never really know when that stuff happens exactly. In fact, I want to make the player think the Kratos' and Atreus' storylines are happening in parallel. And he's a prime example of how I will achieve this.
So in Asgard, and so why would you want to confuse the player like that? You generally don't want to confuse the player unless you're trying to set up for a twist. Although, why would Thor just take Atreus?
About 2/3 into the game, we have an Atreus segment.
Thor did kill Magni, so Thor would be angry.
We see that Thor's drinking problem has gotten worse as guilt consumes him. This is after Atreus and Thor have already gone on several adventures together and have shared wholesome moments.
Why would he just randomly take him?
It's better when I know it's going to happen.
They have built trust in each other.
Thor was really great. I learned a lot from him.
Thor doesn't regret killing Kratos, as if a god like him was even capable of such introspection, but he knows he's in pain.
He is capable of regret. He regrets a lot in the base game. He regrets not being there for his daughters, his wife. He regrets his sons dying, but he feels like he can't. He regrets a lot. That's why he likes killing things. That's why he likes fighting. It's just so easy, because he doesn't like confronting the hard stuff. He's capable of it. He doesn't like confronting it.
He feels sorry for Atreus, for what he took from him, despite feeling justified. He feels conflicted, therefore drinking. Gertrude sees her dad at a table alone, almost passed out from the mead under the starry sky, cursing. She asks him what's wrong, what's been going on with him. Leave, he yells, but she isn't intimidated by her father, and he knows that too. His repeated pleas to leave him alone fall on deaf ears. He mumbles to himself. He looks up at her with his bloodshot eyes, greasy hair, and whispers,
I fucked up.
I killed his father.
I don't know why you would. Again, I don't know why you would end Kratos' story like that. I think people would really hate it if you'd like a Last of Us 2 situation, It really does. And I don't think that's. I mean, he didn't kill him, but you know what I mean. It feels like you're doing a switch up for no reason. Dude, it's all this shit built up, and you just got rid of it.
That cutscene is then followed by the chapter in which Kratos finally gets to fight Thor. As they stand in front of each other, you can see that Thor looks bad. Not badass, just bad, lost, depressed, a broken man. Just like in the cutscene you just watched of him being drunk. This will make the player connect these two events in time, and I want to do that with a lot of the boss fights. It's always Atreus has an important event or story segment with a god or a person, and in the following chapter, Kratos kills that person. Kills that god. Make the player feel like these things aren't far apart. Plus,
Why though? That
you always feel one step behind Atreus. Two birds with one stone. Thor says, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. He's a good kid, you know. His eyes are void of all hope.
why? I guess we're not gonna learn in between. Why would Atreus ever trust any of them? Why wouldn't he? What has he ever tried to get to his father again? I don't. Well, he did. He explained in the story, but why? If he disappeared, he wouldn't think. I don't think Atreus would think he abandoned him. I think Atreus would think, he got away, or maybe Atreus was killed, and now he's going to kill all of them. Or I doubt Atreus would flip like this. We need to hear. It feels like we're missing something a lot, and that can be compelling, but there's a lot of questions.
Right.
And you gotta answer them.
Matter of time, I suppose.
This will make a lot more sense in the end, bro. Just wait. That's crazy. This will also be the last time that we will show Thor to the player in Atreus story cutscenes.
For now.
To really drive home the idea that what the player does as Kratos impacts current events in Atreus' storyline. In the upcoming Atreus segments, we see him being even more driven to power and angrier. You think it's because we killed Thor, but we don't say that. In fact, it's just Atreus' arc of embracing his newfound place, him seeking Odin's approval, him fulfilling his destiny.
Why is he seeking his approval? You would think, after all the stuff he heard about the gods and the fact that Thor just attacked Kratos out of nowhere, wouldn't that drive a bigger wedge? And why would Atreus just think Kratos abandoned him? That doesn't make sense. Especially with all the stuff, Atreus learned about Kratos.
Of becoming a warrior, him bonding with Thrud. But this is story stuff. Get ready for another ranton genius gameplay bomb. I think you already know what I'm getting at. You defeat Thor, and guess what? Some of you might hate it. I have no earthly idea why you would. I think if the game actually did it, you would have loved it. But now that lowly ranton says it, you hate it. What is it about me that bothers you so much, huh? Is it Taiwan? Anyways, yes. You take his hammer, new weapon, new combos, new skills, new moveset, new options for environmental interactions. Very basic at first, because it's of course the new weapon, but how awesome would that be? A Spartan spear and Thor's hammer. These are this.
I mean, it would be cool, I can't lie. But I can't see why you wouldn't. Kratos wasn't particularly interested in Thor's hammer, and Thrud wanted it after her father died. So this version of Kratos, I guess, would do that.
This game's two weapons. That would also make the game's collector's edition not a giant red herring, and it also
What do you
two weapons. That would also make the game
a red herring. What about putting Thor's hammer in the collector's edition makes it a red herring? Would you not You don't get these two things. You don't get little dice in the actual game. I don't just because it's in the collector's edition doesn't mean it's in the actual. Didn't mean you get it in the game.
Game's collector's edition, not a giant red herring. And it also further cements an important aspect for me. Make this game feel different from its prequel in all the best ways. Less iteration, more vision. Let's commit to different from its prequel in all the best ways. Less aspect for me. Make this.
Okay, I'll be right back. I got.
This game feel different from its prequel in all the best ways. Less iteration, more vision. Let's commit to this being a sequel, not version 1.5. I know a lot of you want the Blades of Chaos, but hear me out. The way they were introduced to us in 2018 was amazing. It made story-wise sense. It was a moment.
You will always be. A monster.
I know.
Also, before they got unlocked, did you expect to get them back? I didn't. It's pretty deep into the game, and the X was amazing. But let's leave the old behind. We have 7 other games where you can use the Blades of Chaos. And it's not like we were replacing it with random crap. The spear is incredibly personal to him, and we show this. And Thor's hammer is a pretty damn epic weapon on top. This is a new game. It's the final chapter. Let's not dwell on the past, bro. Please. But how could Kratos lift Thor's hammer? Das ist nicht möglich. Okay, Einstein. Number 1, in the game itself, you can see Kratos being able to exert significant force on the hammer, and he's never practiced or in itself, you can see Kratos being able to exert significant force on the hammer, and he's never practiced or used it before.
Fuck! Sorry,
Number 2, and also before they got unlocked, did you expect to get them back? I know a lot of you want like this edition, Thor's hammer. These are this game's 2.
Sorry, I didn't unmute it. My apologies.
Weapons that would.
I do need to be right back. Sorry, I forgot to mute it. It's not been my day. Ugh.
would also make the game's collector's edition not a giant red herring, and it also further cements. That would also make the game's collector's edition
It's
not
not. How is it? Just because it's not in the collector's edition doesn't mean it's not in the just because it's in the collector's edition doesn't mean it's in the game. You know, the dice are in the game.
a giant red herring, and it also further cements an important aspect for me. Make this game feel different from its prequel in all the best ways. Less iteration, more vision.
Which I mean, I don't think you should change the gameplay aspects completely in the second game of a franchise. You know, it doesn't make sense. You're going to turn a lot of people off. And what's wrong with iteration? You know, you iterate on the old thing. You know, you're like, okay, and this thing 1.1, 1.0 is good. 1.5, you make it better. And why can't you innovate with innovation? You know, I mean, yeah.
Let's commit to this being a sequel, not version 1.5. I know
What this is a sequel. How isn't this a sequel?
a lot of you want the Blades of Chaos, but hear me out. The way they were introduced to us in 2018.
And so the spear was introduced very well. It's had story impact to Brock and Kratos and to Heimdall.
Was amazing. It made story-wise sense. It was a moment.
You will always be a monster.
I know.
Also, before they got unlocked, did you expect to get them back? I didn't. It's pretty deep into the game, and the X was amazing. But let's leave the old behind. We have
the whole entire point of these two games is about reflecting on the past, is about, can Kratos become a better person? Can he overcome his past? Does he deserve all the stuff that he currently has? You know, can he be a general again? Can he do what he did in Greece, but now in Norse, but for good reason this time? It's all about reflecting on the past, and can he be a better person? Does he deserve it? All these things that he has.
We have 7 other games where you can use the Blades of Chaos, and it's not like we replaced.
And it's a weapon. Why wouldn't Kratos use this weapon? It doesn't make any sense.
It with random crap. The spear is incredibly personal to him, and we show this. And Thor's hammer is a pretty damn epic weapon on top. This is a new game. It's the final chapter. Let's not dwell on the past.
What? That's what the two games are about.
Please. But how could Kratos lift Thor's hammer? Das ist nicht möglich.
Why doesn't he realize this? I mean, he does, I guess.
Okay, Einstein. Number 1, in the game itself, you can see Kratos being able to exert significant force on the hammer, and he's
one, he can't. He can only stop it. He'd never been able to move it. He can only stop it, and that barely.
Never practiced or used it before. Number 2, Brock says that they made that hammer. You're telling me that they couldn't make some changes to it so that Kratos could wield?
Well, clearly they only made it for him, and they only made it for Thor, and clearly they put some type of magic on Face Hammer so it could be used by Faye or Kratos, right? Because it wouldn't come to anyone else if they put their hand out. It would only come to Faye or Kratos. So some magic on it. So they would either need to go to the dwarves to put some magic on it so it would go to Kratos, or else Thor could just call it right back. You know, it's...
Wield it? Come on. Of course they could. It's a game. We make the lore.
They're quite famous.
Well, Just because you make the lore doesn't mean it's good.
Famous or infamous, depending on your point of view. They crafted Mjolnir, you see. Thor's hammer?
But now, ladies and gentlemen, the great finale. I'm about to tie it all up. The flashbacks with the general, the visions of his wife, Kratos' need to protect his son, the time factor, Atreus finding his place, Thor. And please note again, this is really just an overarching draft, yeah? There's obviously things and details missing. I don't have an alternative game fully storyboarded.
And you don't understand the original game either, apparently. Could you just omit things?
And mapped out down to the T.
That are in the game that aren't.
Single main side quest, and if something here contradicts a detail in the lore or previous event slightly, let's apply the Salvatorische Klausel. One small mistake doesn't undo the rest. I'm sure you guys are much better writers than...
I mean, if you have enough small mistakes, it won't affect everyone, but if you have enough small mistakes, it can ruin the thing, for me, example, for other people. It depends on the person.
Than me. Just let my creativity flow, okay? This is my time to shine. All right, here it goes. You finally managed to make it to Odin's village, the final chapter. The last cutscene you saw of Atreus showed him fully mastering his transformations and becoming very powerful. You see Atreus looking up to Odin. You see the thirst for power.
It doesn't seem like the Atreus we knew from the first game. Must have been a lot of time.
In his eyes, an Odin's satisfied look. You also get your last spear upgrade before the...
Why does Odin want to do this? Is he still looking for the mask?
Fight. And in that cutscene, you see the thirst for power in Kratos' eyes. You see the young Kratos and Greece storyline conclude by him finally gaining the approval of the Spartan general and accepting his first mission of burning down some village for him. The parallels at this point should be clear.
I don't know why. Again, I don't like the regression of this character. I think it's not needed.
Atreus is becoming what Kratos became.
My life is yours, Ares. From this day, I shall carry...
It doesn't make sense with the 2018.
Forth your will.
The sky is cloudy. There's a storm brewing. You see lightning strike on the horizon. You fight and kill Odin. This is a big boss fight. Next level epic and hard. As the player, you've been primed to feel this.
So you beat Ragnarok.
A much more important confrontation is about to happen. Father versus son. It's been a long time in the making. Throughout your journey, you have met and killed many of Atreus' friends. Hell,
The thing is, Odin and all these people are still really bad people. You can't, even if this is different, he's taking a lore from 2018. So Odin is still a really bad person. What?
You killed Thor, and Atreus and Thor had a bond, man. The music is no calmer after killing Odin. The tension is at a maximum, but the fight against Odin has taken the last bit of strength out of him. Kratos looks old, weak, he's bleeding, he can barely walk. You just feel it's the end of the road for him. You don't know how on earth are you going to survive a fight against Atreus, but nothing happens. Kratos stumbles through the main hall built on top of a cliff that overlooks the coastline, hope to find his son almost fading from his eyes completely. Was the whole journey for nothing? Is Atreus gone? Dead? Did he fall in battle? He takes in the breeze, closes his eyes, but as he opens them, he spots a small shack down by the water, far away. There's a wooden boat and a pier next to it. You slowly make your way down the cliffs towards the cabin. You lose your spear and your hammer along the way because Kratos is too weak to carry them.
He doesn't have any pockets to put them on, or any like, I guess he just loses them. He can't recall it, put it somewhere, I guess. Maybe I'm nitpicking.
And you must be better than me.
Oh, I need to charge my computer. Charge my computer. Okay. Let's continue.
Understand? Say it.
You will be better.
You're now within 100 meters of the shack. The storm is lifting. The sun is
Get my computer after this.
shining through the clouds. There's a person hanging up close to dry. It's a woman. She turns around and lets out a small scream as she sees you, more of surprise than of fear. Kratos stops walking. He's not looking for a fight. And in the door frame of the cabin, a silhouette appears. A man steps out of the building. It is Atreus. But not as a boy, not as a teenager, but a grown man.
Maybe I'm just a hater, but I don't feel it. I don't like it. I don't think it would be as satisfying as the original story. You know, I think I don't like the regression character. I don't too many questions. This feels like very a twist for a twist. There's a lot of questions I need answered already.
Boom! Huge plot twist. How is this possible? How much time has passed? And what does he look like?
I mean, why was Odin wanting to do
the
this?
spitting image of young Kratos in Greece. At that moment, it's clear that every Atreus segment was a flashback, and Kratos took years to recover in prison. I get it, bro. You're super smart, and you would be able to predict the time plot twist. I get it. Listen, just imagine it done so well that you wouldn't notice. Okay, please do this for me. Yeah. Thank you. They all spend a moment in silence staring at each other. The player's utter shock is accentuated by the music going silent. You only hear the clothes blowing in the wind. But this time it's Kratos who breaks. He falls to his knees, and Atreus and the woman run towards him. As Atreus holds him, like we see in the prophecy, Kratos lifts his head, touches his son's cheek. For the first time in years, we can see Kratos is crying. He has no fight left in him. Under tears, he whispers,
My boy.
Fucking, I'm so retarded. What's wrong with me? The woman by Atreus' side is Strud. They guide Kratos into their home and sit him down on a chair across a warm fire. Now, bro, I'm Tarantino. Now I want a really long shot of Kratos that slowly zooms in on him. Kratos
This is just kind of horrible.
is following with his eyes what's going on for a while. We just saw Atreus transform in the last cutscene. We were ready for a face-off, but this is the opposite of action. Atreus is talking to his wife, tending to his house, taking care of chores, food, tea, laundry. Kratos is in awe, and so are you. And he can't get a single word out. It's neither what he nor the player ever expected to see. He spots a familiar bow hanging by the wall, and finally Atreus turns to him. They look each other in the eyes, but still no words are spoken. This is Atreus learning that his father is alive. He looks down at his injuries and says with a matured but shaking voice, "Let me get you some medicine." He hastily leaves the shack, leaving Kratos alone with Strud. You hear only the crackling of the fire until she breaks the silence. I've heard a lot about you, your life, your lessons. He always wanted to be like you, you know.
I think the original arc has a more thematic weight to it. I think it makes more sense.
Strong like his father.
Stop thinking like a father for a moment and start thinking like a general.
No!
Kratos slowly turns his head in her direction and looks her in the eyes. Odin taught him everything. How to use his powers, how to be strong. He did everything for his approval. This is where we show the last Atreus cutscene again. But as we see
Why would he do that?
Atreus being super powerful, the camera pans over and reveals that Thor was watching too from further behind. Not proudly, full of guilt. She continues, when Odin sent him to war,
I mean, it's a good thing Odin died. He was a really bad person.
or when they sent him to kill, my father told him the truth about what he did to you. And you know what Atreus did in response? She looks to the ground as she's holding back tears. There's a moment of silence. To this day, he blames himself for not being strong like you, for not taking revenge, For now, Atreus walks back into the room. Kratos looks at him. Atreus was taken in by the Aesir. They taught him many useful things. He found friends. He found family. He found power. He found his place. His trauma of being abandoned by his father put him on a...
It doesn't make sense with the Odin that we learn about, though. He's very manipulative. He would have had a goal for Atreus if... Sounds like he didn't really have a goal.
Trajectory to become him.
Is this what it is to be a god? Is this how it always ends? Sons killing their mothers, their fathers.
No,
Memory on that bad.
we will be the gods we choose to be, not those who have been. Who I was is not who you will be. We must be better.
He was on a path to become a pawn for the gods, just like Kratos.
Memories of
Okay.
what he'd done in the name of Ares. Memories of how he'd become a servant to the god of war. A beast. His humanity robbed and replaced only with the will to murder.
But as the ultimate betrayal was revealed to him by Thor, a man he deeply trusted, his whole world turned upside down. It pulled the rug away straight from under his feet. He rejected being their soldier, and he rejected taking revenge. He simply left. And when Odin wanted to punish Atreus for refusing his command, it's Thor that went to Odin and said,
Take one
Well, why wouldn't Odin kill Thor then?
more step
Like he
and I
did in
call
the
it
original.
other sins.
allowing Atreus to leave with Trud, alone but in
Why
peace.
would he just allow that? Allow a loose end like that? Odin wouldn't allow that.
Suddenly, a lot of encounters in the game make sense in a different way, but especially the Thor fight.
Just a matter of time, I suppose.
Thor killed Kratos at the start of the game, but as he got to know Atreus, he tried to make up for it, making him feel at home. He supported him, comforted him, protected him. He told him the truth because he didn't want Atreus to fight for a lie. So years later, when Kratos stood before him, it feels like fate. He still put up a fight, but he wanted to die. He lost his only remaining son, Atreus. And in a way, his daughter too, full of regret. He embraced his destiny at Kratos' hands. Right before Kratos used his hammer to smash his head in, Thor whispered, Kratos has nothing more to say. He has no more lessons to give. His son figured it out all on his own, made decisions that Kratos was too stubborn and greedy to make at his age.
I made a deal.
So you just send him on the kind of the same arc that it did in the original game, but worse? Well, how is this any better?
With a god that cost me my soul. I killed many who were deserving, and many who were not.
He could not be more proud. And it's in this moment Kratos realizes his son doesn't need him anymore. He hasn't for a while. He can let go. Atreus already walked his path. The final pivotal decision he made was the...
You don't see any of that? That's incredibly disappointing. Why would you just have that off screen? Now, you might say, Jacob, don't they do that in other stuff? Well, yes, they do that in Old Boy, but that was kind of the point in that story, that he would never that this small town cop would never going to win. When this story is about becoming a new person, becoming, discovering who you are, at least for Atreus and Kratos, and not to see that is incredibly disappointing because you don't have an emotional connection to it,
The opposite of Kratos in ancient Greece.
The glory he had reveled in turned to horror. The image of his two final victims would stay with him for all his days.
Kratos chose to become a murderous servant, and nothing but pain and suffering followed. But his son chose life over death, love over hate. Atreus, having finally found the courage to speak, says, I'm sorry. But Kratos musters his last remaining strength to lift his hand slightly to interrupt him. Kratos understands that for all these years, Atreus considered himself a disappointment to him for not being able to follow in his footsteps, for being too weak, for not choosing power, for not fighting. But he couldn't be more wrong. He's everything Kratos could have wanted for his son, and he figured it out on
Why
his
don't
own.
we see any of the development? This is like Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. He's just this new character now, and we don't see any of the development. You know, it's not satisfying.
You think I'm weak because I'm not like you. I know I was never what you wanted. But after all this, I thought maybe things were different.
Atreus realized that what he wanted more than becoming a warrior, becoming what he thought his father wanted him to be, what his resentment put him on a path to become, what players might expect him to become, is love.
Hey! Get down on the ground!
Love. What Kratos never managed to hold on to. Atreus chose what mattered to him the most, and that's Trud.
Thrud. Why do you call him Trud? Why do you call it Trud? It's Thrud. It's a bit weird.
Do not be sorry, Atreus. You're a better man than I ever was.
Hearing these words, Atreus isn't able to hold his tears back anymore. But this heartfelt moment is interrupted by Kratos coughing in pain. He puts his hand on Atreus' shoulder and says, I need to rest, son. As they leave the room, Kratos lies down in bed, old, tired, nothing left to fight for.
Why wouldn't Kratos try and fight for, try and rebuild this world? Why wouldn't he try and do that? Why does he age, I guess?
No more fire in his eyes. He's happy, but finished. Unable to fall asleep for a while, he turns to his side and sees his wife appear before him one last time, telling him that she loves him.
For one, why didn't Faye tell Kratos what was happening before? I mean, what was happening really? Why did she let him be in the dark that things were happening at the same time? Why didn't she tell him that all the time had passed? In this one, it seems a lot more overt that she had talking to him. In the original, it didn't seem very overt. It just seemed like he was dreaming.
Brings a tear to my eye. What do you think? Whatever. Even if you hated it, I don't want to know. Don't tell me. I love it. That's all that matters. I go to bed sometimes dreaming of playing this version. There are plenty of missing explanations, like why does Odin teach Atreus exactly? And then I don't have Freya's arc figured out perfectly yet, but I'm happy with what I got. I hope you can see how this is not only a much more unique.
I have tons of problems with it, but this isn't this is just like a rough first draft. This first draft, maybe in the second draft, maybe when he actually, maybe if he makes another video, really thinks about it, it will be great.
Unique game, gameplay-wise, but story-wise, also much more final. It's a real conclusion.
But I don't get the weapon.
Atreus and Angry both are going on an adventure. Atreus at the Bogen house. Atreus.
That can be. It's not all bad. It can be good. Some of it's good. It's just a bit too long.
No, fuck that.
Atreus is the worst one in the game, and it's not really that bad.
Is a man now. He chose to become a loving husband, not a killing machine. He broke the cycle of violence that his father got trapped in. Kratos.
Why wouldn't he be angry at Kratos?
learns to let go of his son, who he can and should no longer control. The father and son arc
So the same thing in the original game.
is complete. I know I haven't talked about that very important event called Ragnarok and Fanboy Winter at all, and it's because I don't care. I care about the characters. I care about Kratos and Atreus. Make
What? Why? Yeah, but it's in the story. They mention it in the first game. It should matter, right? You can't just go like, "Oh, I don't care about it." That's not satisfying. That doesn't work in storytelling. You can't just pick and choose what you care about if someone wrote something before you. Like literally The Last Jedi. And
Make the Ragnarok event super epic with big boom if you want, if you need that stuff. But I love how Cory Barlog, the creative director of the previous game, said it in a presentation. Simple story, complex characters. This video is proof that I am a pathetic nerd that thinks about video games too much. I promise I won't become a fan.
You don't think about storytelling enough.
Fiction channel. I've never done this for any other game. Shows my passion for these characters, yeah? Love you guys. Anthony out.
Anyway, like and subscribe to me and Ranton if you want. Well, yeah. Bye.